All right. Call this meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. Welcome to the May 26, 2026 Millbrae City Council meeting. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Fung?
Here.
Councilmember Nguyen?
Here.
Councilmember Riley?
Here.
Mayor Rinaldi?
Present.
All members of City Council are present.
Perfect. All right, and at this time, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, so please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance if you're able to. All right, so we're going to go into item 1 on the agenda, which is ceremonial presentation. We have the San Francisco Peninsula Destination Marketing Organization for fiscal year 25 to 28 strategic plan. And we have John Hutar, President and CEO of the San Francisco Peninsula, to present. Mr. Hutar, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Rinaldi, members of council, City Manager Williams, and city staff of Millbrae. My pleasure to be here this evening with several team members and hotel stakeholders. Nova Maldonado, our Chief Advocacy Officer for the San Francisco Peninsula, our Board Chair Kevin Kretsch, General Manager of the Hyatt Regency SFO, a Millbrae resident, General Manager of the Grand Hyatt SFO, Casper von Eldikteam. The new team, or the team from the Westin Aloft, his first day on the job, Hartmut Ott, General Manager of the Westin and Aloft in Millbrae, with Hotel Manager Gabriel Sunega and Director of Sales Karen Tang. Jacqueline Joshua is our Public Relations Communications Manager for our organization and is a resident of Millbrae. And Teresa Condon, a staff member of ours, lives right on the cusp between Burlingame and Millbrae, but she spends most of her time in your fine city. So with that, it's our honor to present to you our Board of Directors strategic plan. Next slide, please. Our organization, founded in 1971 by San Mateo County hoteliers, we operate the county's Film Commission office and the county's As Fresh as It Gets Farm to Table program. In 2022, we used the COVID timeout to rebrand the destination marketing materials to the San Francisco Peninsula. We came before your body in 2024 to launch our new tourism marketing district funding model, and last year launched a board advisory council which produced the strategic plan we are presenting to you this evening. Next slide, please. We're here to talk about strategic plan, but we are proud of the marketing efforts. Millbrae gives us a lot of content to speak of. We partner with Caltrain and always refer to BART and Millbrae as the hub for visitors once they're here to get around our beautiful destination. Featuring in our social media Tasty Place and several other restaurants, TPT and other restaurants, taking the Caltrain north and south up and down the peninsula, and a feature on Grapeaholic. Next slide, please. And for 2025, very proud of our Expedia direct-to-consumer marketing campaign, producing over 10,000 room nights for the city of Millbrae, for hotels in the city of Millbrae. And that also done in conjunction with our colleagues at Visit California, the state's tourism agency. So on to our strategic plan. Next slide, please. Our board of directors, primarily hoteliers, owners, general managers of hotels in the cities we represent. Tina Ongerth, owner of the Dillon Hotel, sends her regrets. She's traveling internationally, wanted to be here tonight, but was precluded. Next slide, please. And our Board Advisory Council launched in 2025, tapping knowledge from expertise in the pillars of education, business, government, hospitality, labor, attractions, parks and rec, venues, and community at large. I think all of these names are well-known individuals. So the first pillar, next slide, of our strategic plan is to support destination asset development. 3 initiatives under that is to advocate for upgrades to the San Mateo County Event Center. In tandem with that, analyze opportunities to develop tournament-grade sports facilities throughout the peninsula, and consider an opportunity to develop a tourism master plan that may give each of our city leaders some guidance so we don't end up with 20 soccer fields and no swimming pools, or 20 swimming pools and vice versa. Next slide, please. The second pillar, to endeavor to maximize the destination experience, analyze the opportunity to develop an annual destination event that would ultimately be synonymous. And in your packets, you have cards that look like this that speak to 2 events coming this summer. Heritage Fire, July 26th, that will be Bayside at the Coyote Point. Whiskeys of the World, Coastside, August 28th. And they are bookended by Flavors of the Peninsula, a countywide restaurant week, if you will. The inaugural event just concluded on May 3rd, and we're coming back the last 2 weeks of January and every year in perpetuity to help our restaurateurs during their slower season. We also wish to advocate for the completion and improvement of the Bay Trail, and work with our communities, economic directors, chambers of commerce, et cetera, to help amplify and encourage visitation to music venues, nightlife events, to further push visitation. Next slide, please. The last pillar, continue to build organizational excellence, and that is activating our Board Advisory Council, visiting all of our cities to share this plan, to learn more about what is happening in our various communities, making each of you aware of what our organization is working on, and making that a two-way communication. Next slide, please. Here again, the dates of the upcoming food events. We feel that there's a strong opportunity with the culinary talents of America's first celebrity chef, Martin Yan, being a native of, not a native, but has had San Mateo County as his home for many, many decades. There's many other talented chefs and restaurateurs that we can help promote our region. I think the next slide is the conclusion, and if you have any questions, if I can't answer them, I know this esteemed group can.
All right, thank you for the presentation, John. Do we have any council comments or questions? Oh, don't be shy. Go ahead, Councilmember Nguyen.
So if we go back to the slide with the, there was a chart with different cities showing
Yes.
the, so what is South San Francisco's secret?
So there's a correlation to the number of hotels. There is basically, there's a 7% of the total rooms is the city of Millbrae, and it came out accordingly. South San Francisco, though, is an outlier. They did have a few percentage points more than their percentage of hotel inventory. There's no scientific evidence, but they have one word in front of their name, South, that honestly may confuse some folks, and they stay in South San Francisco. So good on them. As long as we get it, we're happy.
Is it our belief that that's the key driver? I know there's some ambiguity there, but do you believe that's a key driver in why they capture so much revenue?
Yes and no. The average daily rate comes into play. So the farther you are away from the airport, the lower the average daily rate. And we are in that prime corridor that hotel owners prefer of a higher rate the closer you are to SFO.
I see. Thank you.
All right, any other additional comments or questions from the council? Councilmember Fung?
Thank you. Just out of curiosity, John, thank you for joining us this evening here. We're on here sort of third on the list in terms of revenue, which is great. And then we see obviously the average, average room rates and how many room nights, throughout. But what about the number of rooms within the jurisdiction in comparison to some of the other jurisdictions? Are we getting more filled? Are they, I'm just trying to figure out the occupancy rates of the rooms that we do have. How does that stacks up?
So overall performing well. The convention hotels, which in the city of Millbrae, primary, the Westin and the Loft, there's a concerted sales effort that assists those properties above and beyond. For instance, last week, Karen participated in our international travel market show, IPW, and we engaged with the 18 larger hotels.
Great. And, obviously, thank you very much for continuing to just promoting the entire region and running different events and just keeping the economy resilient. Thank you so much for all your effort there.
And we appreciate your support. Folks want to visit a place where they're comfortable, and it's your leadership and stewardship that makes it that way, and makes not only for initial visitation, but for repeat.
Thank you for that. And let's open this up to any public comment. And I believe we have one speaker inside chambers. Is that correct, City Clerk? That's for public comment. Okay. Do we have someone online? I see a hand that's raised.
We do. The speaker is Ann Snyder. Please accept the mute.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the presentation and for the work that your group does. I also want to thank you for your help a few years ago when I was calculating the number or trying to figure out the impact of hotel loss in Millbrae. And at that time, Burlingame had a little under 3,500 hotel rooms. South City had a little over 3,400 hotel rooms to our 1,211 or 1,300. We've now lost the El Rancho. So when you look at those percentages, it certainly has not just the number of rooms rented out, but the number of available rooms. In addition, a year and a half ago, I think I pointed out to you when I was playing around at SF on your website that, and you look for hotels near SFO, Millbrae's hotels did not start showing up until you had to scroll to the 4th and 5th places. Immediately popping up were the Burlingame hotels, followed by the South City hotels. And I remember us having a discussion of what algorithm caused that to happen. But to the Millbrae City Council, I think you should spend a little bit of time looking at their website and making sure that our hotels show up on the front page under the category. I believe we're SFO adjacent, whatever that category is. And finally, part of the loss that we had over time was due to La Quinta causing the loss of the shuttle to the Millwood and the the Marriott on El Camino Real. Has that been fixed? If not, City Council, that is something to fix to help get our numbers up. Thank you.
Thank you for the comment, Ms. Schneider. And it looks like we have one in-chamber speaker, Santana Thienwatt.
Please have a seat. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Santana Thanviwat. I'm a Millbrae resident, and I had the privilege of getting to know the San Francisco Peninsula. If you looked at the magazine, I know our city manager is looking at it. You've made tremendous strides in advocating our regional area, and I want to thank you for all your hard work. And I think you've been doing a beautiful job. And also with the flavors of the peninsula, I know some of our businesses has gathered new customers as well as expanding their promotions because of your initiative. So I'm looking forward to see more work that the San Francisco Peninsula are doing. Thank you for your great work. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Santana. And with that, do we have any more council comments or questions? No? Well, John, I want to thank you and your team for advertising Millbrae. You guys do a very good job, as we heard from our last public commenter, and thanks so much for stopping by today.
Thank you for having us.
Ms. Mayor, if I may, real quick, I just want to recognize John and his team for helping us out with the TNC, the Uber and Lyft issues that we have around 101 and Millbrae Avenue and Bayside. So that's a work in progress. Really appreciate the leadership and the communication because without John and his team, we would not be even close to the communication and the resolution that I think is forthcoming. So really want to thank you, John, and your entire team for assisting us and helping us out there.
Thank you, and thank you, City Manager Williams, for your leadership. We're not going to let go till we prevail.
Yeah, we're making some good progress. The emails that I've seen, at least really over the last week and a half, so some really nice progress. So yeah, and thank you to the hotels. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. All right, so we're going to move on to the 101 Corridor Connect Program Update Presentation. We have Peter Skinner, Chief Officer of the San Mateo County Transportation Authority, better known as SMCTA.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me okay. Good evening, Peter Skinner, again, Chief Officer of the San Mateo County Transportation Authority. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Tonight, I'm going to give you a brief update on the 101 Corridor Connect program, which our board just adopted the last of the three multimodal strategies that are part of that. Next slide, please. So what is 101 Corridor Connect? I believe my team has come before you in the past to present on Corridor Connect. It's really a collaborative effort with city staff, the public, and partner agencies to identify and prioritize congestion management improvements within a 1 mile buffer of US 101. And this is not just your traditional highway infrastructure projects, but also looking at, multimodal investments, transit, bike and ped improvements, as well as improvements to vehicular travel. Again, partners include, Caltrans, all the cities along US 101, transit agency partners, Samtrans, Caltrain, and BART, and of course the SF Bay Ferry, San Mateo County, and CCAG. Next slide, please. Okay, Corridor Connect program is guided by 4 overarching goals: safety, connectivity, inclusivity, and sustainability. These help shape how we prioritize the projects in our multimodal strategies, really try to guide the decision-making process throughout the program. Next slide, please. We can go on to the next slide. So the multimodal strategies, they're planning documents that helped us prioritize the top 20 projects in 3 distinct areas of the county: the northern, central, and south. Each of the multimodal strategies identified 20 projects each that were really the highest priority in terms of being able to achieve the congestion reduction benefits that the program hopes to support. And again, they include highway, active transportation, transit, and other types of improvements. They're not just focused on the freeways. Next slide, please. So to develop the strategies, not only working with city staff, but we held a number of pop-up events at community events throughout the county. We engaged CBOs throughout the county. We had interactive online surveys. We placed temporary ads at bus stops, and then the interactive map allowed us to get a lot of feedback. And the next slide is over 12. there we go. Over 1,200 online survey responses, through the pop-ups, over 500 people we spoke with, 114 people attending CBO events. So really a very comprehensive, outreach to make sure that the public voices were heard as part of our prioritization process. Next slide, please. So, and again, each part of the county, we identified 20 projects in each part of the county. And in an upcoming slide, I highlight the projects that are selected in Millbrae. And we'll get to that in just a moment. And next slide. And part of the 101 Corridor Connect program is called Active 101, which was a Caltrans funded program to really focus in more on just the bike and ped improvements along and across 101 within a quarter-mile boundary of the freeway. Next slide, please. So really we're looking at, again, those very specific active transportation improvements, either bike and ped overcrossings, curve extensions, high visibility crosswalks, things that make it easier for people to get along and across 101 without having to use a car. Next question, sorry, next slide, please. Similar to the Corridor Connect, we did some additional community outreach, and again, more pop-ups, conversations with CBOs, and then had a fun little online activity where people could, put their dollars towards projects that they found the most interesting. Next slide, please. And here's a map of the priority network. It'll take many years to get fully built out, but the idea is really we can identify those priority projects and then hopefully prioritize them for funding as we move forward. Next slide. One more. So what about Millbrae? So here are the projects that the multimodal strategies and Active 101 selected within the city of Millbrae. These include the US 101 Millbrae Avenue, a separated bike ped overcrossing. After being in our new building in Millbrae for the last couple of weeks, I've noticed it is rather difficult to try to walk or bike across Millbrae Avenue and 101. So some really great projects here that were selected that really have the ability to make a difference with congestion management. The next slide is so what are we doing next with Corridor Connect? Our board was very generous in allocating $4 million for a mini grant program. The idea is that most of these projects that were identified in Corridor Connect or Active 101 are really just lines on a map, part of cities' planning documents. Not many have moved forward in any significant way into pre-planning or design. So this mini grant program will make $750,000 per project available, or $1 million if you do a multi-jurisdictional effort, to really advance the projects that were identified in our plan. And the idea is this would be a very low bar to entry. It's a very simple, streamlined application process. We're really just asking for some basic information when the applications come out. Really to kickstart the planning process, where we'd be offering our own technical assistance. So you'd have access to our consultants to take pressure off city staff. Also, we have a bench of CBOs that we are partnering with to help also do some additional community outreach. Then if the, one thing is if your project is selected, we are gonna ask that cities do a site walk with us and invite one of the members of the city council to really show that you're invested in the project. Next slide, please. So the next steps right now, we're going to city councils and city transportation commissions this month and last month. Next month in June, we're gonna release our call for projects, but it's really gonna be this simple nomination form. They'll be due in about 4 weeks. And then in August, we hope to release the funding decisions for that program. And if we're oversubscribed, we do have the ability to ask our board to fund above and beyond that $4 million. See how many applications are received. Next slide, please. And So what we're asking for is that if the city has projects that are on the list that you'd like to consider moving forward, talk to us, my team, about the projects, apply to the mini grant program. Again, very low bar to entry and a decent amount of money and technical assistance available. Participating in the site walk, and again, we would make our CBO bench available for public engagement if selected. And with that, next slide, please. If you have any questions, talk to my staff, but in all seriousness, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have today, but I'll do my best to answer any detailed technical questions. If not, I might have to defer to get back to you at a later time. Thank you.
Thanks for the transparency, Peter.
Yes.
Let's open it up to council comments first. Council, do we have anyone here with any questions or comments? No questions or comments? Okay, all right, very good. So I'm seeing there's a hand online. Do we have an online speaker for a comment? Open up for public comment.
Yes, we do, Mayor. It is Ann Snyder. Please accept unmute.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. Sadly, my Wi-Fi could mixed out. I missed part of it. But you did mention the difficulty of pedestrians and cyclists getting over 101. And now that you're in Millbrae, welcome. We're so happy to have you. But it is my understanding that after being a priority in Plan Bay Area, in Plan Bay Area 2050 plus, that project has been dropped. And I hope that you can help Millbrae get that project back on the project list. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Schneider, for your public comment. Do we have any other hands that are up, Elaine?
We do not.
All right, so we'll close out public comment. With that, I'll revert back to council for one more last opportunity for questions or any comments. Nope, looks like we're good on that. So Peter, just want to thank you for your presentation. I'm sure you'll be hearing back from us on some potential projects.
We're neighbors, so it's we're much easier to reach.
We know where to go if we need to borrow some sugar. So
Exactly.
we'll come down there.
Thank you.
Thank you. So with that being said, we're going to move to agenda item number 2, which is overview of staff briefing with calendar events, which is informational, reports of bills and claims, which is also informational. So City Manager Tom Williams, please provide the city manager update.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening to you, members of the City Council. Again, Tom Williams, City Manager. I'd like to just bring to your attention a staff request to continue on the agenda under existing business, items 12 and 13. Hannah Moran, our Recreation Director, is out ill and really need her present to present these two items. Item 12 is the event policy study session. Item 13 is the event sponsorship package study session. At the direction of the City Council Director, Moran did engage our local nonprofits to provide their feedback, but since she's ill tonight, we need to continue these two items to the June 9th City Council meeting. So if you note that, and as you approve the agenda, we requested that we continue those two items to June 9th. And regarding the staff overview, just like to bring to your attention that a week ago, Saturday, we had our Public Works Expo. I'd like to thank our Director of Engineering and Public Works, Fai Ali, and all of his staff for just a terrific event. This was at the City Hall parking lot, and it was an open house Public Work Expo. We had more than 500 people attend, and as you can see on the photo here, a lot of young kids and families where they could talk to our Public Works folks, touch the trucks, get on the vehicles. One great story, I think it was Fai or maybe one of our Public Works supervisors was showing this little boy and girl the dump truck. And our staff did such a great job cleaning it that the kids were disappointed because they asked, how come it's so clean? Where's the dirt? And they were actually looking in the back of the truck, the dump truck, for sand and dirt. So, but you can see also on the bottom left, a lot of giveaways for the kids. Those are plastic backhoe trucks that we gave away. And it was just a really nice event. And so wanted to share that with the City Council. I know most of you attended and showed up to help participate. So very nice, and thank you to our Public Works Department and all the community that showed up to get to know our employees. Our Public Works folks are the people that are out in the field every day, out in the parks and the streets, and they interact with our constituency and community. And it's always nice to build that relationship and get everybody together. Okay, so upcoming events. This Saturday, May 30th at 1 p.m., the Youth Advisory Committee, in conjunction with our council member Riley, who's a Youth Advisory Committee liaison, is holding a 2-hour youth education and info forum at the Millbrae Recreation Center. It starts at 1 p.m. Students and youth are able to connect with knowledgeable instructors covering public speaking, trade careers, college applications, and scholarships. And as importantly, refreshments will be provided. So all of you students that are out there, refreshments and a really great forum to get to experience and speak to professionals about your future. So that's this Saturday at the Millbrae Recreation Center at 1 p.m. Also, last year, the council may recall that after the Mills High School graduation, their high school graduation is this Thursday, May 28th. In conjunction with Mills High School and our recreation department, we did our first summer block party at Central Park. It was such a success that the two brothers, Justin and Jeremy Garcia, from The Voice, also graduated from Mills High School a few years ago. One of them's actually, I think, a senior, will be a senior at Cal, and the other one is at San Mateo City College, both pursuing their career in music and music production. So really two outstanding graduates, but such great voices. They performed for the city before. They asked if we could hold another block party. So that's June 5th at 5 p.m., Millbrae Central Park. And they will be featured and entertaining, as well as other music groups from Mills High School and other high schools throughout San Mateo County that they've been able to recruit. So this is going to be a great program. Start at 5 p.m. We'll have food trucks there. The shows and performances start at 5:30. And so this is open to the entire community and a really nice family event. And congratulations to all the Mills High School graduates this Thursday. Another event at Central Park starting Friday, June 13th at sunset. We move to our outdoor movies. So on, that says June, I think it's June 13th. That says June 12th, but I think Friday is June 13th. So anyway, so we second Friday of every month in the summer, starting in June, we have our outdoor movie at Central Park. So Zootopia is this first second Friday in June. Then on July 10th is Minecraft. You can see The Wild Robot, August 14th. And then rounding out the summer outdoor movies, September 11th is GOAT. And so this, again, is a great family environment for people to come out, bring your lawn chairs, bring your blankets, and enjoy outdoor movie, with the first one starting the second Friday in June, and that is Zootopia. Also wanted to bring to the community's attention and council's attention, we have two draft plans that have been prepared, issued to the public. The first is our urban water management plan, and the second is our local hazard mitigation plan. You can access both of these plans and updates on our website, or scan the QR code that's up there, anybody that's online right now or watching on TV. The urban water management plan is a review of our current future water supply and the demands and how reliable that supply is and what we are doing to conserve and manage water. It includes a plan for how the city will respond in the event of water shortages or drought conditions. Comments are due by June 9th. So June 9th is the deadline for the public to review this plan. The second plan, our local hazard mitigation plan, identifies the potential disasters and hazards that exist in our community and could impact the community. It outlines the steps that we are taking to reduce risks and keep our residents safe. Comments on this plan are due June 15th. So the urban water management plan comments, June 9th. The local hazard mitigation plan are due June 15th. Again, you can access the plans on our QR code or on our website. Then lastly, I wanted to bring to the community's attention some sidewalk closures for downtown pressure washing starting June 1st, which is next Monday, through June 3rd. This will occur at 5 a.m. to noon. This will be on Broadway from Meadow Glen to the north, to Victoria to the south, and the El Camino frontage. The first power washing power washing will begin Monday 6th, 1, so June 1st, which is a Monday, that's on the frontage road. Then Tuesday, June 2nd, this will be the east side of Broadway, again, between Meadow Glen and Victoria. And on Wednesday, June 3rd, the west side of Broadway will get power washed, again, between Meadow Glen and Victoria. So just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. Watch out, during the morning hours from 5 a.m. to 12 p.m., especially those that go to Dean's Produce that early, because we will be power washing. And Mr. Mayor, that concludes an update of what's happening in the city of Millbrae.
All right, thank you, City Manager Williams. So with that, I'm going to open it up for any council comments. Seeing that there are no council comments, I'd entertain a motion if anyone would like to make one. Motion to approve minutes? No, not needed. All right, so then we're going to move to agenda item number 4, which is an oral report from City Committee and Commission's Chair, which we have none. So we're going to skip over that because there's none tonight. Oh, okay. Approval of meeting minutes, which is agenda item number 3. So we have our regular meeting minutes of May 12th, 2026. So any council comments on that? Any changes or edits? None? So with that, I would entertain a motion if anyone would like to make one to accept them. Motion to approve. So I got a motion from Councilmember Funk and a second from Councilmember Nguyen. So with that, let's go ahead and go to our votes. City Clerk, votes please.
Item number 3 passed by a vote of 4-0.
All right, thank you. So with that, that leads us to public communication. This portion of the agenda is reserved for those who wish to comment on any item not appearing on tonight's agenda. However, speaker must address subject matters within the jurisdiction of the City Council. Every speaker will have 3 minutes. The speaker is to address directly to the entire council, not individual council members nor the public. In-person speakers, please submit a speaker slip. To participate on Zoom, click the raised hand button located at the controls at the bottom of your screen under the React. If you're joining by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand. You'll be called upon when it is your turn to speak. So we have some in chambers. All right. Perfect. So I'm going to start with the first in-house speaker, which is Marjorie Ruiz.
Honorable Mayor, council members, city staff. Hello, I am Marjorie Ruiz. I remain your PG&E representative serving all of San Mateo County, including the city of Millbrae. I'm here to talk tonight about the PG&E Reported app. It is available in the Apple Store, Android, and on web desktop version. And so as you know, PG&E has a robust safety program. We use cameras, drones, helicopters, patrols to keep our infrastructure safe. But now we also have the Reported app, and it is an invitation to our customers, your constituents, to report any issues that they might see as they're out and about. It's very simple to use. It's available for all platforms. You download it. You can take a picture. If there's a tree that looks like it's too close to a line, if there's a pole that you might be concerned about, you can snap a picture. And what it does is that you can submit it directly to the PG&E Public Safety Team, and the Public Safety Team will reach those customers, your constituents, directly. We'll report our findings, and they will track this issue all the way through to resolution until the matter is resolved. Now, please hear me. It is not a substitute for 911. It is not emergency response. If you see a down service line, walk away, call 911. If you smell gas, you call 911. So this is not a replacement for 911, but it is just another it's another instrument and it's another tool in our safety toolkit that invites our customers in and gives them direct access to the PG&E safety team. So I will follow up with your clerk and make sure that you all have access to that. As we head into the summer, people start noticing things, they get very concerned. I know last year we had a few of those, so this is just an invitation to members of the city of Millbrae. If you see anything, you can reach out to us and we'll reach out to you directly. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Please let me know. Thanks.
Thanks for your comment, Ms. Reese. So we'll move on to the second in-house speaker here, Ms. Alice Quang.
Hi, good evening. I just follow up for last month's the council meeting for regarding for available events, like Central Park renting. First of all, I would say I do agree to those called nonprofit organizations to ask the city to support for their event. The city should charge a minimum our city costs. You know what, if you do see all those nonprofit organizations, their balance sheet, majority, they wash the monies. I donate some money for these nonprofit, those nonprofit donate some money to us, but they're using our taxpayers' money to do their own event, which is not fair. I don't ask the city to make money from those nonprofit organizations, but at least charge the minimum cost. That's fair to all of our public. The second, the number one, the public event should move is Japanese culture festival. The reason is, if you look at all year long, anytime Japanese culture festival is holding by Japanese country, because each time their general councilor come to Millbrae for their event and talk, they have their booth there. If they present their country or present their political, that's not fair for Millbrae public dollar to pay for the events. That's political. That's not culture. Millbrae have a culture committee already. If they want to do the committee for the culture, join Millbrae MCC, Millbrae Culture, but we don't support Millbrae Japanese Culture Festival because they're holding by Japanese government. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comment. And that brings us to our third in-house speaker, which is Ms. Marianne Kong.
Good evening. I want to ask a question about the BID meeting last Tuesday, I remember. How many local business owners actually attended? To my best knowledge, I talked to many of them. They all said they are trying to work their way out to be there at noontime. They could never make it because they were too busy handling their business. Nighttime, and then the restaurant, and then the people who want not the restaurant, they want to go home, they wrap up. Usually they close at 6. By the time they finish closing, they cannot make it. So I think the city did a good thing, try to engage the business. And I said the last council meeting, it is a bad day and a bad time that was selected. It was used for the meeting to meet the people. Okay? And everybody would like to work with the city and then to make our downtown business more prospective and then making more money and bring more business into the city. So I would like you to reconsider to host another meeting. Maybe you can find a better time for them to able to come. I actually just don't know how many, but I do know one person showed up, the Millbrae Lock showed up. Okay, and then he actually skipped his lunch to be there, okay? And then so that's wonderful, but where's their other people? Where's Momo? Where's Num Num? Where's the beef noodle? Where's the Modern Eat? They don't even open that day. So anyway, this is just for a couple examples. And the little Chengdu, they didn't even go. And then I don't believe Fiddler's Green went. So anyway, I just thought it's a good try. It's really, really good try. I really support the idea, but we had to do better. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comment. And this brings us to the fourth in-house speaker, Lisi Huang.
Good evening, and council member. I received a letter from the city. It made me remember 2 years ago, the city government proposed a project called a CBD, Community Benefit District. I remember it was rejected after discussion because it would cost a lot of money and not bring any substantial economic benefit. Now, the city proposed a so-called BID, Business Improvement District. And judging from the description in the letter I got, the government will spend money on cleaning graffiti and maintaining sanitation. I think Millbrae is such a clean and beautiful city. So we need to spend extra money to pay those management company to do nothing. I strong the BID is essentially the same thing as CBD, just a different name. We strongly oppose it. Instead of focusing on how to collect more taxes from the people, the government should do more practical things, such as creating opportunity for young people to find employment, introducing technology to develop industry or science and technology, and building the city into a high-level added technology city. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your public comment. And City Clerk, do we have anyone online with their hand raised?
We do not, Mayor.
All right, so with that, that is the closure of our public comment of the night, and we're moving on to our consent calendar. And we have 6 different items on here, starting with receive and file monthly general fund financial report for the period ending in April 30th, 2026, informational, adopt a resolution of the Millbrae City Council establishing the appropriations limit for fiscal year 2026 to 2027, which is an action. Approved by motion a request from the Millbrae Cultural Committee for parking lot and street closures and fee waivers for the Mid-Autumn Festival on September 19th in 2026, which is an action. Approved by motion a request from the Millbrae Cultural Committee for parking lot and street closures and fee waivers for the Lunar New Year Festival on January 30th and 31st, 2027, another action item. Adoption of a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to execute an amendment to the agreement with GHD Inc. for as-needed municipal engineering services, extending the term to July 9th, 2027, which is an action item. An adoption of a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an amendment, extension agreement with the County of San Mateo for continued provision of animal control services for a 3-year term beginning July 1st, 2026, which is another action item. Does anyone wish to pull any item from the consent calendar for comments and discussion? Looks like none. So with that, I'd entertain a motion by anyone to like to make one.
Move approval.
Got a motion?
Would you like to take a public comment?
Sure, let's go ahead. Is there any items that we need public comment on here for discussion?
Mayor, there are no speaker slip or hands raised for the consent calendar.
Okay, so being that there is no public comment, I'll entertain Councilmember Fung's motion. And do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Riley. So with that, let's go to the votes. City Clerk.
The consent calendar passed by a vote of 4-0.
All right. So with that, we're going to move on to our public hearing, which is a presentation of vacancy status and recruitment strategies in the city of Millbrae per Assembly Bill 2561, Government Code 3502.3, and it's an action item. So Lucy Fung, our Human Resources Manager, will present us the report.
Good evening, Mayor Rinaldi, members of the council, and members of the community. Lucy Fung, Human Resources Manager. Today, I will be presenting our vacancy status and recruitment efforts as required under Assembly Bill 2561, also known as AB 2561. Next slide, please. My presentation overview tonight will include an introduction to Assembly Bill 2561, vacancy information by employee groups, examples of our recruitment and retention efforts, followed by a recommendation and time for any questions that may arise. Next slide, please. AB 2561 is a new assembly law that went into effect January 1st, 2025. It requires all public agencies to hold a public hearing to present the status of vacancies, recruitment, and retention efforts at least once per fiscal year before the adoption of the final budget. Recognized employee organizations for a bargaining unit shall be entitled to make a presentation at the public hearing. A bargaining unit can request that additional information be presented should the vacancy rate for their respective unit meet or exceed 20%. An invitation was extended to our only bargaining unit, Teamsters Local 856. They acknowledged receipt of the invitation and informed us that they would not be presenting today. At this time, no bargaining unit has a vacancy rate that exceeds or meets or exceeds 20%. Next slide, please. Here's our current vacancy rate table by employee group. Teamsters Miscellaneous Unit has a vacancy rate of 10.6%, with 5 vacancies and 47 budgeted positions. Teamsters Sanitation Unit has a vacancy rate of 8.3%, with just 1 vacancy and 12 budgeted positions. The non-represented management and confidential group has a vacancy rate of 10.7%, with 5 vacancies and 46.75 budgeted positions. Our overall vacancy rate is at 10.4%, with a total of 11 vacancies and 105.75 budgeted positions. Next slide, please. Our team has worked as fast as we can to fill the city's vacancies. To date, this fiscal year, we have successfully filled 25 vacancies, demonstrating our continued commitment to timely and effective recruitment. We post our jobs on CalOps, which is a public sector specific application portal. Recently, we have improved our job postings by clarifying responsibilities and highlighting our benefits and organizational culture to attract candidates who are seeking meaningful and purpose-driven careers. We have also expanded our marketing efforts by advertising on governmentjobs.com, LinkedIn, Handshake, the city's website, and the city's Facebook and Instagram pages. We also post on professional organization websites such as the American Planning Association, Public Works Association, and Bay Area Waterworks Association. We also collaborate with neighboring agencies to share resources in interviewing candidates for technical skills. For example, we partner with other cities in putting together oral boards to conduct first interviews. Since COVID, we have continued to conduct first interviews virtually whenever feasible, which facilitates a faster and more convenient process. In addition, we continuously review and refine our policies and procedures to improve our processes and further expedite recruitment efforts. Next slide, please. With regards to employee retention, the city does provide a stable workforce. Not only do we offer a competitive salary and benefits package to our employees, but we also offer a variety of training and professional development opportunities through the county's Regional Training and Development Consortium and LCW Consortium. So far, we have offered 43 training sessions on a variety of different topics this fiscal year. We have also recently revamped our employee recognition program, and the committee has worked hard to put together events for employees where we celebrate employees who have reached significant milestones. They have been very well received, and we're expanding our efforts in this area with several events planned for the remainder of the calendar year. We have also continued to work collaboratively with the city's union partners to address and improve operational issues that they may bring forward. Next slide, please. If approved, this presentation will satisfy the obligations and requirements of AB 2561. Staff recommends that the City Council open and close this public hearing and receive the presentation on vacancy status and recruitment strategies in the City of Millbrae pursuant to AB 2561. Next slide, please. This concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
All right. So council, do we have any questions of staff? Seeing that there's no questions, I'd like to open up the public hearing. Do we have any public comments?
Mayor, we did not receive any speaker slip or hands raised online.
And with that, are there any additional council questions? Seeing that there are none, I'd like to entertain a motion to second to close the public hearing. Do we have a motion? I have a motion from Councilmember Nguyen. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Fung. So with that, let's go ahead and vote.
The public hearing is closed with a vote of 4-0.
All right, thank you. And I'd like to entertain a motion, if anyone would like to make one, to accept the report. Do I have a first? Got a motion by Councilmember Nguyen and a second. Motion by Councilmember Nguyen. And a second by Councilmember Riley. All right, so let's go to the votes.
Item 11 passed by a vote of 4-0.
All right, thank you very much. And now we're moving on to items 12 and 13, which we heard earlier are going to be continued on to the June 9th, 2026 City Council meeting.
Mayor, we do have one speaker slip for item 12 before continuance.
Okay, so we'll hold public comment for this item. Hold public comment.
Yeah, sorry, Mayor, we're just discussing with city attorney. So these two items, if the council votes to continue it, then we will open up the public comment at that time. In talking with our city attorney, if you'd like to just receive public comment, they will be, because it's the agenda, they will be timed. And then that will, if they don't use all of their 3 minutes, we'll keep a note of it. And so then if the person addressing the city council on this item at the next meeting wants to talk, then we'll limit it, because you only get 3 minutes per this item legally.
Well, I would suggest that, we could have public comment now, but it would probably be better to have it continued in case there's any changes to the staff report or any of the materials.
So my recommendation is we hold public comment. If someone wants to comment on this item now, they can just write an email in and then give public comment when we actually hear it the next council meeting.
Certainly.
So, with that, we're holding that public comment slip, and we're going to move on to new business, which is agenda item number 14, which is adoption of a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to execute a professional services agreement with Economic Growth Strategies LLC in a total amount not to exceed $105,750,000 for a period of 1 year for professional services to assist the city with the establishment of a property business improvement district, which is an action item. So with that, I'm going to call on Brad Meisner, our Community Development Director, to present the report. Mr. Meisner?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, fellow City Council members, and the public. My name is Brad Meisner, and I'm the Community Development Director. So yes, before you tonight is item 14. As you stated, the topic of this is a professional services agreement with Economic Growth Strategies. Next slide, please. So the purpose of this professional services agreement would be to authorize the city manager to sign a professional services agreement with Economic Growth Strategies. So Economic Growth Strategies do their specific expertise in areas of economic development, business improvement district creation, and revitalization strategies. We recommend continuing to do business with them for them to help assist the city with the creation of a business improvement district. By way of background, just for the council's note, is in our general plan, within our general plan, we have an economic development plan, and as part of that, we have chapter 4.5. There's a goal in there that basically states that to be compliant with our general plan, we would have the city shall encourage the formation of a business improvement district. And then coupled with that, this is also a part of our capital improvements program. This professional service agreement would authorize up to $105,750 for the approval of this item if needed. Next slide. So by way of background more, for consultant assistance in early spring of 2026, the city engaged initially with Economic Growth Systems to continue some of the work that had occurred back in 2025. I think we just heard a little bit about it. There was the idea of the formation of a community benefits district at that time. That work was paused due to economic conditions happening in early 2025. Since that time, we have engaged with Economic Growth Systems. They've been reviewing the previous work. They've looked at the reports from 2025. They began to re-engage with the community, the business owners, property owners. I've conducted public town hall meetings. There was a virtual meeting last Wednesday, as well as created a public survey. To continue, though, with the process, this professional services agreement is before you tonight to add additional funds to the initial contract with EGS to help continue with the public engagement, then to roll into more technical assistance, to have an engineer's report prepared, and also leading up to potentially ballot and tax assessment documents. So if the creation of a bid is supported by property owners, then formal vote of the property owners would be required. For Economic Growth Systems to assist with all those technical requirements, this revision at this time is needed. Slide, please. The reason why we're here tonight is to, again, as I said, to add the additional funds, to allow for the continued engagement. We continue engaging with the public. I think as we heard, we've just began that process. There's much more outreach that needs to be done to the property owners, business owners, to talk about what services, what benefit could come from an assessment district or an improvement district. The timing is somewhat critical. If there were to be an assessment in the year 2027, the county does have a deadline of July 31st of this year to bring documents forward for tax assessments. That's why we're here so quickly on the heels of the public outreach that we conducted last week. But like I said, there's still much more work to be done. Next slide. So some of the next steps, as I was indicating, is that tonight, if council chooses, we move forward with the additional funds to allow for an engineer's report. We'd continue district engagement to determine whether or not there is support. There would be an update of the engineer report and management report to reflect a business improvement district. And then, of course, there's many more steps that you'll hear more about involving a public review process and then public hearing. Next steps. So tonight, our recommendation is to adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign the professional services agreement with Economic Growth Strategies in the total of amount not to exceed $105,750 for a period of 1 year. Next slide. So with that, we'll take any questions. Also, I just want to let the council know we do have our consultant, Paul Saldana. He's with us tonight on the Zoom call. He's here to answer any more specific questions as I am as well. Thank you.
All right, so with that being it, I'm going to open this up for some council comments and considerations. I've got one comment from Councilmember Riley.
Hi. So why we have a deadline with the county next year?
I'm sorry, one more time.
You said that there's a deadline with county 2027. Deadline.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Due date.
Yeah, the deadline for being able to have an assessment on properties in 2027. To do that, we'd have to file all the requisite and necessary documentation with the County of San Mateo. And that would need to be done by July 31st if there were to be an assessment in the year 2027.
Why we have assessment with county? Because is like property tax?
Yeah. So I believe that the assessment would be along on the same schedule as property taxes as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Councilmember Riley. Are there any other comments on council? Councilmember Nguyen.
So the amount that we are potentially paying EGS, correct, is 105 roughly $1,000. The original amount was $444,900, and we expanded that to roughly $61,000 for the expanded scope. Is that
So
correct?
the initial agreement with them was for a little over $44,000. Tonight, what we're asking is to add to another $60,000 so that the total cumulative of the agreement would not be more than the 107,000, sorry, I get my number again here, $105,750.
Okay, so with this expanded scope, what are the extra deliverables that wasn't covered from the original scope, and why do we need that?
Yeah, that would be for the engineer's report, which then also leads into a management plan, working on ballot deliverables. I'm working with the city clerk on working towards a vote of the property owners, as well as all the tax documents that would be needed for the county.
I see. So was that not considered originally with the 44,000 that we talked about just now? Like what changed? I mean, I'd imagine that's part of the planning originally, so why now?
Right, because the initial phase was really just to start to re-engage from the work that was done in 2025. So we're starting to get some feedback. We hear some things favorable. We hear concerns, of course. But at this point, we need to continue doing that work. But we want to do this now, this additional work, because of the deadline that would be in at the end of the summer for a potential assessment. So I think initially we thought really it was going to be more of a public outreach process. We knew that the engineer's report would have to come in at a later date. We just weren't sure exactly when.
Okay, and just one more quick question on that is the deliverables, the actual or maybe one tier below, or in diving a little bit into the weeds, is what is it EGS going to deliver us? Like, what are they going to give to us as a work package?
Right, so what they'll give us is a report coming up very soon that looks at the analysis of the previous work done in 2025. We'll have a report with all the outreach efforts summarized. Themes, we went through a number of exercises for business owners and property owners to identify what they think the most pressing priorities are for the downtown, what one thing could be done immediately that would be super impactful, and some other exercises. So they'll be giving us all their findings on the previous work, the technical analyses to go from what was previously a community benefits district to a business improvement district, and all the findings. Then step 2 would be the engineer's report and everything else that I had mentioned previously.
So on that, what are like key decision points like from these reports are we looking at to make like very different types of strategic planning? Like, can you kind of share your thought process on that?
Right, and then I'm going to invite Mr. Saldana onto the call, have him address some of those questions. Councilmember.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you okay.
Okay. So to the question, the additional deliverables that will be provided will be redoing, as Brad mentioned, the engineer's report and the management plan for the business improvement district. Both of those are required under state regulations in order to be provided to the business and property owners prior to the balloting going out for them to vote. We'll also continue to engage with business and property owners. In fact, we're continuing to do that as we speak, but that'll be part of the process as well.
And then, Councilmember, I might follow up. I think probably what we'd be looking at too is coming back before council with another informational update on what we're hearing and where we think things are stand. Because I think you're asking about some of the critical decision points. And I think once we have some of that additional information of whether or not we're hearing support from property owners and business owners, that'd be a great time to come back with a summary of the findings of what we've heard and some of the preliminary findings from the legality of going from a CBD to a BID.
Okay, thank you.
You know, I'll just add, just for context, you know, it may be helpful, is that the business improvement district is an assessment district, right? So it's an augmentation for revenue into the city for a geographic area to do more things than what the city can afford. So, you know, we talked this evening about power washing the sidewalks. Well, we do that 3 times a year. It definitely needs to be more than that. And so this assessment, for example, would provide funding for cleaner sidewalks, more frequent steam cleaning of the sidewalks, trash pickup, marketing and advertising, all sorts of beautification and benefits that would help the property owners and the businesses within the city. What Brad and consultant are working on is what are the interests of the property owners and business owners for the use of that money pursuant to the laundry list that's afforded to the business and property owners under the law. So there's a laundry list of things that could be done and the use of those funds. And then there's also an analysis of what is the minimum amount on an assessment for a BID to even be feasible and worthwhile, right? So we think it's right around $400,000 a year. So is there interest, and we don't know the answer to this because we continue the engagement and the evolution of seeing if this is feasible at that assessment based on whatever the geographic boundaries are of the BID end up. What would that assessment per business, per property owner be? And at a minimum to make it feasible, $400,000 and some change, then is there support for that, right? And if we find that there's support, then that's where this engineer's report is necessary and required under the law, then to go for a vote. And if it's a favorable vote, submit that engineer's report and the assessment per parcel to the assessor's office for the ultimate collection. But we don't know what those answers are yet because Mr. Saldano and Brad and the team are working on that and getting feedback. So that's why we're saying that this is not to exceed 105,000. If for whatever reason, you know, on key go, no-go decisions, you know, if we don't move forward with it for whatever reason here in the next month or so, then we won't obviously spend that money.
And we wouldn't need to exercise it all.
We wouldn't need to exercise it.
Does that plan also include the, I remember with the CBD, we had the board of directors or some governing body that was part of the whole planning. Does this also include that?
Yeah, right, so the engineer's report would be, part of it would be a management report as well. And so I think previously what you might have heard under the CBD was the management of those funds essentially under a landscaping and lighting district were controlled by the city. Under a business improvement district, that management plan would be set up to have essentially a board of directors that's governed by the property owners and business owners.
Can you, is there any details there we can share, or is it still too preliminary to go through that? For like board of directors or governing body for this
Paul,
new?
can you touch on that?
Yes, we haven't gotten to that point in this process, but that would be something that would be worked into the management plan.
I see, and also the parcel assessment, I think there was a formula and equation we used for the previous CBD. Does this plan also include that? And if it does, can you share details?
Yes, we're working off of the current engineer's analysis, and so all of that would remain the same. The difference would be allocated towards the business improvement district versus the previous community benefits district. So the formulas, all of those types of things will remain the same in this as we move through this process.
Okay, thank you.
Any other council comments? Councilmember Fung?
Thank you. Correct me if I'm wrong. So we currently have a $44,000 budget and change, which is for the purpose of the outreach to try to come to a scheme where business owners, property owners would likely to agree to. That's within the $44,000 and change. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right, and so, and in addition to the public outreach, there was also an analysis of the work that had previously been done to look at the difference between a landscaping and lighting district and a business improvement district.
Right, so that's the research, the outreach, to try to come to a scheme at which people can vote on, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that has not been exhausted yet, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
Okay.
Correct, yeah. So that first 44 or, you know, close to 50,000 was to get things started, right? To see what
Yes.
type of feedback. So we haven't achieved what that answer is as of yet. So this is what this additional contract is for. One of many variables, right? So is there support? Where is the support? What is the boundary? What would the assessment be per parcel? And then on the management plan, what would that funding be used for?
What I thought I heard was the initial 44,000 and change is to come up with that scheme and come up with those proposals. And through outreach and talk to business owners and property owners to come to some sort of an initial agreement that we believe is viable. Correct me if I'm wrong, city manager, right? And then the additional 60,000 and change is to implement, and I'm trying to understand what the term engineering report is, but is to actually somehow put this on a ballot. Correct me if I'm wrong. And in order to go through all the logistical procedure required to put it on the ballot and get it voted on so that it becomes the assessment. Is that correct?
Correct. So there's a couple though. It's not just the engineer's report. Basically what the engineer's report is, they put together an assessment, property tax roll, per parcel, per APN, and the amount. And that is what is officially submitted to the assessor's office to levy the assessment. That's the engineer's report. Also part of this contract and the additional funds are for continued community engagement, putting together the management plan, and the other things that Mr. Saldano had mentioned.
So what I'm hearing is some of the community engagement that we believe is required to get to that point would not be covered by the initial 44,000, but part of the $60,000 that you're asking now.
Some of it was, but we still have more work to do. And so that's why this amendment is necessary. So we still have some community engagement to do, work with it. And this is, although we're engaging the business owners don't have a vote. This is a property-based, so only the property owners have a vote. So we've done significant engagement with the business owners, but also we still need quite a bit of work to get to the property owners themselves.
Okay, because I remember in the previous version of the CBD discussion we come to, I guess, some structure, right? There are two different tiers or two different zones, and there's a certain assessment that we were thinking, I think in the neighborhood of about, I forgot how much, was it $800,000 to $900,000 and change? I think somewhere around there. Annually, right? And then by the property owners. And this one seems to be, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, I thought I heard in the neighborhood of 400?
Well, the 400, sorry, Councilman, the 400,000 is just kind of a rounded number that we're targeting to make the BID even worthwhile. So if we don't have, if we can't.
Starting point.
Correct, yeah, if we can't generate 400,000 in the property-based assessment, it really isn't even worth pursuing.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Yeah, okay, all right. So just, I kind of want to get some sense as to what you're asking us to approve here tonight and what that $60,000 is for and where we're at in terms of the initial 44,000 that has been appropriated.
Right, so that has not been exhausted. I also think that some of that work, when we go into we're calling it phase 2, engineer's report, manager report, there's still continued outreach is happening. So they kind of go hand in glove together. So I think that's where the issue is. There's some blending over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've turned the car on, started the engine, we're on the on-ramp, but not on the freeway yet. So we need to get to the freeway and eventually an exit. Whether that's a go or no-go, that's what the exit ramp's gonna be.
Yeah, so that leads to a segue to my next question is, when do you think we will have some sort of a proposal that, we can discuss here, at least be presented to the public and say, we're looking at X amount of assessment, 1, 2 tiers of zoning, have some, red and blue maps with those 2 zones, and if that's the direction we're gonna go, and what those fundings are gonna be used for, how are they gonna benefit the community? When are we gonna see that concrete, proposal?
Yeah, that's going to be relatively shortly here this summer, because Very soon, we'll have the initial report from our consultant, and then I think we can come back with some summary findings, as I said before, about what we're hearing from the outreach efforts, and then looking at more of the technical aspects around how much support we think there is for this, and be back before council.
And if we backcast from that July 31st deadline, we don't have much time because we need, Paul, I'm looking at you, we probably need a decision on a go, no-go because the engineer's report needs to be prepared before and submitted before July 31st or on July 31st.
That's correct. So in the timeline that we've prepared, we'll have our initial study or initial analysis completed here by Monday. We have a few more meetings that we've been holding. Once we have that, that'll give you the sense for the go no go opportunity. Then depending on what happens with respect to this engagement, our plan is to have the engineer's report and the management plan delivered to the city by the 11th of June. This way it could be put out to the public for 30 days prior to a public hearing, which would be July 28th. And so that's kind of the schedule that we're working from.
June 11th of this month, of next month.
Yes. Correct.
And when are we looking to have the property owners to actually vote on this, timeline-wise?
So we would have to have the ballots out 45 days prior to the hearing. So that would be June 13th.
So by June 13, we will have ballots out to the property owners in our downtown to vote on whether or not there's a go, no go on the CBD, or on the BID.
Right. So what happens is those ballots would be tabulated. They would come back before you at a public hearing on July 28th, and at that point, the council can make the decision to move forward based off of the balloting and the final decision.
So it's coming up pretty quickly here.
Yes. Yep. And that's to make, as Brad mentioned, that's to make this next assessor's roll, because the county does have a hard deadline of July 30th to get all of the information in order to meet that would be the 26-27 fiscal year.
But correct me if I'm wrong, I'm a little concerned here because right now it's May 26th. You're talking about having something on the ballot June 13, did I hear? 2.5 weeks from now, but we still yet have here sort of what the total raise is going to be, what the spending plan is going to be, the governance structure, and all of that. So I'm just...
Yeah, no, and I think you bring up a great point. I mean, we're trying to get to the deadline based on the direction from a previous council to get this on this ballot. And so if we find over the next, week and a half that there isn't support, I mean, my recommendation is to not even go for a vote because it's futile, right? And so I would say let's jettison this deadline for 2027 and continue the work and have the goal to get it on the 2028 assessment roll. We're really fast tracking this just from previous discussions with previous city councils but I think we'll know within the next, week and a half if we have enough support to even ask the question on a ballot. Because if we're not going to get the support that we need and, if we have community engagement and it's not, it doesn't make any sense.
And major property owners.
Correct. Right.
Right. So, okay, anyhow, so let's take some public comment. And then...
Yeah, I just had one quick comment before we enter into public comment.
Yeah.
My quick question to you is, let's say we okay this for the additional, $60,000 to buy into the program. And if we jettison this, is that $105,000 investment going to be used for the next cycle for a BID?
You mean if we don't hit this deadline in July?
Yeah, one of the big concerns that I have, attending the last hearing session we did for the BID is there were some people that felt there was a lot of substance as far as hard data or numbers that were missing. There was no real proposal, which sounds like that's what we're going to get for the manager's report. So being that this is a really compressed timeline, 2.5 weeks, I think that's pretty compressed to put something together that's presentable to the property owners.
Yeah,
Not saying it can't be done, but just saying if we make the investment of 105,000, will that carry over to the next available time?
yes, it would.
Okay.
And we may come back, June 9th with that recommendation, depending on what we find out in the next 2 weeks. It may make sense to slow this down, more community engagement, bring the property owners on board with more time and not kind of force this issue.
Yeah, I kind of remembered I hear that old saying in the back of my head, measure twice, cut once.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
But to your point, Mayor, if you approve this contract this evening, it's not wasted dollars. Any work that Mr. Saldana does will carry over for the following year.
yeah. What about the prior work from the CBD that was done last time? Is there any of that work that's carrying over?
There is a lot of the analysis and data. I think that, relatively speaking, I know, 100,000 plus sounds like a lot of money. But in relative to this type of work, I'll call it economies of scale because of the previous work. Mr. Saldana was able to really efficiently and effectively get a lot of the data that we didn't have to pay for because it was already paid for and done and used.
Yeah, okay.
So typically, an establishment of a BID from start to finish could run anywhere from $600,000 to $1 million, quite frankly.
Councilmember Nguyen, comment?
Another question is the work product. I know we discussed what we believe is going to be delivered, but I think I would recommend having milestones assigned to this work product so we can measure the progress and report to the public where their money has went on a phased approach, not just these blanket, okay, I get this engineering report, but what type of engineering report? When do we get it, right? Who's going to prepare it? There's a lot of questions I would have as a resident for how my money is being spent for each report. I don't doubt potentially the positive outcomes this can produce, but we do need to put, in my opinion, greater insight onto these milestones and possibly even gates for this report.
Yeah, and absolutely. There are a number of tasks associated with the dollars, for sure, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from council before we open to public comment? None? Okay, so I want to call over the first in-house speaker, Alice Kwan.
Hi, anyone. I do a lot of AI search. You guys can do. But the answer is not favor. Because the whole San Mateo County have 20 cities. Currently only have San Mateo, Level City, Burlingame. Yeah, have it. And compare those cities, are really much smaller size than that. And I checked, majority this for homeless, and or some other like cleaning things. But do we need to set up these such organizations? And although, yes, they do a lot of good job, but they never tell us how much they cost, where the money goes, how much the management fee. For example, if we may, in the future day, we were able to get assessment for 1 million, but 25% go to management. 25% is how much? 250. Looks big, looks good, right? But how much you can hire someone, good quality people to management a downtown? 40 million is a good compensation. No, even you cannot hire me, right? So consider you hire part-time people to manage our downtown. How good that can be? I don't trust. And another hand is, in the state of California, they clearly say the assessment can every year up to 8% increase. I guarantee they will do that. That means our property owner is not facing the current year, this amount for the assessment add to their property bill. They will every year increase. Don't forget. And the good thing is our city government say, oh, you know what? Our city don't have any way to to deal with them because they are non-profit organization. That's a very poor because that non-profit is a real profit organization. They really can make their own profit and city doesn't able to reach out to them to make any effect for them. They only can see the annual report to a council. How many people understand all the data? Nobody. That means that will give a big problem to all the property owner. The property owner complain either to weaken our downtown or raise up all the prices from all our who we living here for a long, long time. Who will be finally suffer? It's us. So please make your vision for more wider and more further. Another hand, even today, the item number 12, and they also want to limiting the downtown activity only 7 days per year, and the Central Park only for 5 or 3 days a year. That's crazy. Please make your vision more further and wider. City need to go in, but now you're limiting the activity, and now you need to get more assessment. That doesn't make sense, please. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. So we're on to the next speaker, Ms. Marion Kong.
Hi, I'm going to repeat again. May 19, this BID meeting actually to me failed. How many property owners showed up? All my friends own the condominium property, nobody showed up. So what kind of outreach is that? Okay, and also if you really want to, I just heard about today, July 28th, you can put a ballot through. Okay, what is the ballot about? Are they excluding the condominium owners? Or, you know, and then it's not even clear. And then I actually think is we need to work together. The businesses, resident, and the city government, we need to work together. But with this ambitious projection, it is too out of reach to me, because if you really push it through, I can basically say that it will get shut down, okay? If all the property owner can vote, I don't know who can vote anyway. I mean, if by June 13, you need the property owner votes, do they even know? I talked to the cleaner, they did not show up. They didn't know what it is. So I really wish that we can come to a further understanding about what the BID this time different than the CBD last time. Okay, that is something I want everything to be successful. I don't really want us to fight, but then I think it's too rushed. And then I like the milestone thing, and then the milestone should be open for every property owner to know so they can track the progress. And then I'm not even sure the $60,000, you know, whatever, and change, and then will make the difference, okay? But I just really wish 4 of you consider maybe now is not the right time to come back with another different projection date. Then we can consider, that's what I say. Oh, and then I don't believe they will pay those things, because I know some property owner have 4 or 5 property in downtown, okay?
Thank you for your public comment. City Clerk, do we have any public comment online?
We do. Ann Snyder, please accept the mute.
Hi, Ann Schneider, Palm Avenue, Millbrae. I want to thank staff for the BID meeting that I attended last week. It was the 4 o'clock meeting. It was better attended than I thought it would be. I do understand that some people thought that they were going to see the entire finished product, but that wasn't the intent of that meeting. I really do think this is the 3rd time, and even more if you consider the work done for the design charrette in 2015 and all the work that went into the downtown specific plan. This is the 3rd time up. At some point, leaders have to lead on that. But I do think it will help the business owners, and I think the one speaker who brought up the condominiums, you know, separate out the condominium owners from the business owners. And and move forward as you can on that. But I think the meeting last week was intended as a kickoff meeting. It was not intended to provide all of the detail that some of the people that were there were hoping to get. But there was some good information, including the information of what would help people see the improvements right away. What, again, is the return on investment or return on our ability to go downtown. Council, I wish you luck. It is time to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment, Ms. Schneider. And are there any other speakers online with a raised hand, City Clerk?
No.
With that being said, I'm going to move back to council comments on this item. Any council comments? Would anyone? Councilmember Fung.
Yeah, I got an additional question. What was the discussion last time in terms of, I guess we're formulating, opinions among property owners in downtowns and try to come up with consensus as to the directions where we're going to go. Where do we stand on the residential side of the property versus the commercial side of the property?
Good question. I think we're kind of putting the cart before the horse a little bit.
Okay.
The agenda item in front of you is to approve a contract to continue the work so we can get to some of these answers. We do have milestones in the work plan. And of course, that's what I mentioned, the go, no go. We'll be keeping the council up to date on what our findings are. Once we know what they are, we're just not there yet. And so that's the purpose of this. And, I've said it before, what do you want your downtown to look like? Is anybody really, really happy with the look of downtown? Honestly, we've made a lot of progress. We're continuing to make the progress. This is a tool that helps augment our ability to have a beautiful downtown and to make that investment and improve it. And that's what this is all about. It's not us against Alice or Marion or anybody out there. We are trying to continue with the major over what Councilmember Fung over the last, 4 or 5 years, almost $1 billion of investment in this city, if not a little over $1 billion now. And so that's what we're trying to achieve here, is to bring our city up, to a level that we expect.
Yeah, so thank you to just put things in perspective. And I think there is a great discussions in terms of the source of fund, where they come from, but more importantly, it's how we use it and the purpose of those funds and what are we going to achieve with it, right? It's just what she said a moment ago. The investment that we continue to attract, the success that we've had in the last few years, how can this further that goal? And I think that's kind of where the focus of the discussion should be. But obviously, we will discuss source of fund. That's important. But what most interesting here is what are we going to achieve with this? I think there's been a lot of brainstormings in the past, the parking strategies in downtown, the structures, the beautifications of downtown and how it would level up our desirability in terms of our retail base. Those things are important to us. How can we do more with less and be able to bring better services, bring back better services that some of our previous generations have left us behind, right? So I think that's sort of where the theme of the discussion should be. Now, I don't have a problem, going further with this work, but I just want to, as we move forward, we need to be mindful as we communicate to the constituency. Make no mistake about it, they will look at this as a tax. It's just, that's the reality of it. But as we do, how we use it and how we benefit the city with that should be the center stage of that discussion so that everybody understands what this needs to achieve. The constituency wants to trust the city, and I think they've they've come a long way in terms of giving us more leeway, more leash. And so let's make sure we continue to harness that.
Yeah,
Go ahead, City
So
Manager.
just to explain a little bit more, really to benefit the public. So you're exactly right. What is the source of funds? So the source of funds is the BID, Business Improvement District, is a tool to assess tax properties to help augment our revenue so we can do more. It's not going to provide 100% of the funding that we need. That's going to come from our general fund and other sources from other taxes. This is an augmentation to help us get to that next level to continue with the beautification and improvements and cleanliness of the downtown. So that source of funds is right on target. And that's what this question is, right? And the assessment. And then how to spend it, that's the management plan. And that's where the property owners, they actually dictate what they want to spend the money on. And that can change every year. It's not the city. So let's say that they're happy with us steam cleaning the sidewalks 3 times a year. And they want to spend the money on marketing or other beautification, or some BIDs set up a revolving loan for facade improvements. So it's going to be dependent on really what the property owners feel is in their interest. And it's not a static decision. It's a dynamic decision that they can adopt a budget every year or every 3 or 5 years or whatever it may be.
And I understand that, and I agree with that, but I think at some point, as we begin, there have to be some vision and some foundations that we're trying to lay down. And I think that's what this outreach, right, all these work that we're doing with the 44,000 and now additional 60, that's what provides sort of the framework of this future BID in terms of a vision, what it needs to achieve. Obviously, the board of directors will run it. There's no question there. That's what democracy is about. We will make sure that this is being run by those who chose to tax themselves. No question about it. But the question here is, what vision do we give it? We gotta make sure that it start off at the right foot and proper focus. That's what we're here to provide. But I'll leave it at that.
I think that's exactly right. And that's right. And that's where this next step is going to evolve.
You're back to the council.
Thanks, Councilmember Fung. Just a real quick comment. Looks like I may have another comment coming up too. Okay. Just a real quick comment to piggyback off what you're saying. First, I want to thank all the public that came out and commented tonight. I want to thank city staff for the thorough explanation. What I'm hearing, and I think this echoes what you're saying, Councilmember Fung, is that we need to provide the value back to these folks that would want them to get to buy in to tax themselves. So more outreach needs to happen. We heard from some of the people that went to the BID meetings, or some that had friends that weren't able to do it, that they felt that they didn't have enough input yet. The value clearly isn't there because we don't have the framework. And what's being asked of us tonight is whether we want to continue down this road to get that vision so we can provide the value to the public, to the property owners, to see if they want to buy into the program. At this point, I understand staff's ambitious goal to try to meet a previous requirement or deadline that was kind of put out there. My greatest concern is that we provide the value and we don't rush, because I'd hate to see this thing fall flat on its face. I think it's really ambitious in 2.5 weeks to have ballots out to the property owners and have them buying into this, especially because Councilmember Fung, you had asked, kind of what the temperature is, and it doesn't even sound like we have any indication what that is right now. So in 2.5 weeks' time, I think that's a little premature. So for the public's knowledge, what we would be doing tonight is, if we were moving forward, it's not saying that we're necessarily going to put this on a ballot right away and have that temperature check in 2.5 weeks to have all the property owners buying into this. What it's saying is that we're continuing the exploration to benefit the downtown and make it attractive. There's a lot of development that's going around here. We want to pull those consumers into our downtown to spend the money. So not only our downtown business merchants will reap the benefit of it, but the general public of Millbrae as well. So I'm going to leave my comment at that right now. And Councilmember Nguyen, you had a comment.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally understand that this is just a an analysis, right? We're not saying we're going forward one way or another, but our input is important to structure how this report is going to come out to us. This can take any direction. We can go, infinite amount of ways, and this discussion is to say, this is what we'd like to see in the report. We talked about milestones, I understand that, but what type of milestones, right? And what I'd like to see, just a thought process, is balancing multiple requirements at the same time. I get that we want to beautify the business district so we can generate more sales tax. That I don't think is lost in the public, but what I'd like to see is balancing other things, such as our ability, the governance piece, right? We talked about like the board of directors. My concern with CPD earlier was the ability to back out of something. And that's one of the most dangerous things, in my opinion. Risky is irreversible changes, right, that can happen. We need to be able to effectively back out if something doesn't work out. Things happen, I get it, right? We have good intentions. We all want to see this business district be good, but sometimes it doesn't work that way, and we need to back out. So the planning should incorporate that as well, and take into effect all the parameters that the experts know more than we do about. We're leaning on them for the expertise, not just a high-level plan. I think everyone can understand that. So mainly, it's balancing requirements, looking at financial impacts, the ability to reverse course if we need to, the governance piece, right? How is that selected? Does the public get to even say, right? I get that, like if it's a parcel assessment like the previous CBD, my concern actually previously was that the board of directors was selected by the landowners, not even the business owners, right? So the business owners or landowners don't even live in Millbrae. Do they even care if it changes? These are things that need to be considered as part of this report. I understand we're not making a decision on BID at all, but we need to focus the report on things that matter, not just go in every direction. So that's all I need to say about that.
I mean, we are. So, to your point, we do have a lot of absentee landlords in our commercial, central business district. And so we're trying to reach out to them, see what their interest is. And they are the ones that will be voting. And so it's those that have that vested interest in that vote. And to answer your question, it isn't the public. The public does not have a vote on this. I mean, the public, within the district it does, but it's a property owner vote. And so it would be those that voted in who are the property owners that then would make the decision on how they're governed and what the use of funds are. Under the law, there's also assessment district law that governs what the source of funds. So it can't be used, for anything and everything. It's a specific criteria under state law.
So at that being said, are there any other comments or questions from the council? Councilmember Fung?
Thank you. And I believe we're already somewhat there, right? I mean, we just need to continue this, but what I wanted to emphasize is that there need to be broad-based involvement. There are a lot of volunteers, and you see a lot of them here tonight, and they're very involved in how the community is, and everybody need to have a voice in this, and so that, because downtown business owners and the local downtown economy, everybody has an ownership of that. So to that end, we have a lot of business organizations that are very active here in downtown, and they need to be consulted. They need to be a part of this process so that all the voices are being represented in this greater discussion. I just want to make sure that we don't leave anybody out in this discussion. So.
Yeah, and I guess, Mayor, in closing, I mean, I just don't be surprised if we do come back to the council either June 9th or June 23rd to say, let's move this assessment to the 2028 assessment rule, kind of slow it down. I think that would probably benefit us. Don't really know what the answer is, until the next, 2 weeks or so. But just to throw it out there, we may come back. It seems to make sense in it. And I think the council seems to understand that.
Yeah. So with that being said, I will entertain a motion if anyone on the council wants to make one. If not, I'll make one. Anyone? So I'll make the motion then we got a motion right here. Do we have a second? We got a second right there. Okay. So the motion is, do you want to say it for the record?
Yeah, I'll motion to approve the appropriation for the additional 60 to move forward with continuing the effort to BID.
All right. Fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and, let's go ahead and all vote together. We got a second from Councilmember Nguyen. And City Clerk, the vote.
Item number 14 passed by a vote of 4-0.
All right, thank you, City Clerk. So that being said, we're going to move to agenda item number 15, which is an update on City Council vacancy in the City Council District 3. It's an action item. So with that, City Clerk Lane Tran, I believe you have a presentation for us.
Yes, I do, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Eileen Tran. I'm the City Clerk and also the city's elections official. Tonight's presentation is to provide an overview of the District 3 City Council vacancy and propose next steps. Next slide, please. So on May 12th, the City Council, Councilmember Ruben Holliber resigned from Millbrae City Council effective 11:59 p.m., creating a vacancy for District 3 seat. The Government Code Section 36512 outlines the options available to City Council when a vacancy occurs, to either fill the vacancy by appointment or call a special election within 60 days from the commencement of the vacancy. The City Council will need to take action by July 11th, 2026. If the vacancy is filled by election, it must be held on a regularly established election date that is at least 114 days after the election is called. If the City Council calls the election at the next meeting on June 9th, it is 147 days to the November 3rd, 2026 general election to satisfying the 114-day minimum requirement. Next slide, please. The same Government Code Section 36512, subsection D1 states that the appointment cannot be made if it would result in a majority of the City Council being appointed members. Because Councilmember Sissy Riley and Councilmember Bob Nguyen were both previously appointed to City Council, filling the District 3 vacancy by appointment would create a appointed majority. As a result, the vacancy cannot be filled through appointment. Next slide. The remaining option available to City Council is to call a special election. The Council may either conduct a standalone election for District 3 or consolidate the special election with the November 3rd general municipal election, the same time as District 2 and District 4 council seats. The District 3 seat will be for the unexpired term ending December 12, 2028. Staff recommends consolidation to support voter participation, reduce confusion, and provide cost savings. Next slide. Based on estimate provided by the San Mateo County Registration and Elections Division, a standalone special election for District 3 is estimated to cost approximately $106,800. By comparison, consolidating the election with the November 3rd, 2026 general municipal election is estimated to cost approximately $51,600 for Districts 2, 3, and 4. This would result in an estimated savings of approximately $55,200, or about 52% less than conducting a standalone election. Next slide, please. If the City Council provides direction to consolidate a special election, staff will return at a future meeting, June 9th, with the necessary resolution. These resolutions will formally call the election, establish candidate filing and election procedures, and request the election service through the San Mateo County Registration Division. Next slide. Staff recommends the City Council receive the update on the District 3 vacancy and direct staff to consolidate the special election with the November 3rd, 2026 general municipal election. I am available if there is any questions.
Thank you for that report, City Clerk. For the council, are there any comments or discussion around this item? Councilmember Fung?
So the estimated cost around $51,600, that's for all three districts, or is it per district?
It's all three districts.
All three districts together will be $51,000.
That's correct. That's estimated just for the election costs.
Okay, but a standalone for just D3 itself, it's $106.
That's correct.
Because the other two needs to take place no matter what.
That's correct, and it's also consolidated with other elections that's going on. So if we do a standalone, basically the election is counting staff that would need just work on the standalone election, as well as materials and different deadlines as well that they would have to be working with us.
If it were to be a standalone, what dates would there be?
The earliest it will be October 1st. So you would only have an advantage of 33 days in advance.
Any further council comments? Just make a quick comment right here before we open it up for public comment on this item. You know, looking at the last item, we were looking at 60,000, and right now, we'd be saving ourselves roughly $55,000 by not doing a standalone election. I think it's a very good point that you brought up with your question, Councilmember Fung. Doing 3 districts all at once during the general election, we're looking at 51,600 versus just doing a standalone special election. One quick question I had, and I think you may have answered already, how much time would it speed up if we did a special election, if we did entertain that? Would it just be like a month or two tops?
That'll be at 33 days, but also I would be concerned with voter confusion because you have 2 elections.
Yeah.
That's going on very similar time frame. And so if you want a higher turnout from voters, I believe the general election would be the best to get more people interested, and also we'll have more time to also inform the public that's a vacancy, and if anybody's interested, they could pull papers, so it's not as rushed as a standalone special election.
Yeah, okay. Any other council comments before we open up to public comment? Councilmember Riley?
Thank you for laying out this very clearly to us to understand. The math is easy, so 3 districts election is much better. We can save for $55,000 more. Thank you. I'm in favor for that.
Councilmember Nguyen, any comments or? Okay, good. So we'll open up to public comment now at this point. Oh, wait, one more council comment. Councilmember Fung.
So the standalone in itself is 106,000 and
That's
change. But if you had that, then the general will only have 2 districts.
That's
And
right.
would that still be 51,000?
That will probably be a little bit less, but it won't be much less.
Right, so what I guess when you calculate a saving, you know, it's having 1 elections versus 2 elections, right? If it's 2 elections, it's gonna be 105,000 and change.
Yes.
Whereas if you just have 1 election, there'll be 51,000 in period, that's all done. So your saving is like 100,000,
Yes, and then.
not 55.
That's correct, and also want to bring up one point. Even if we start the election, it would, the earliest would be having to be on a Tuesday, so it actually be a little bit after the 1st. But on top of it, you will need about 30 days to certify the election results. So then technically with that kind of bounded in, you'll probably, like, that person will take their oath of office during the December rotation time as well.
Thanks.
Got it. So with that, let's open up public comment. Do we have any speaker slips for nows?
No, we do not, and there's no hands raised online.
All right, so we'll end the public comment on that, bring it back to final council comment. Seeing that there's none, I'll entertain a motion. I'll sit forward to do a motion to approve and move forward by just moving this to the general election. Do I have a second? Looks like I have a second from Councilmember Riley, so let's go ahead and go to our votes. City Clerk?
All right, item number 15 passed by a vote of 4-0.
All right, thank you, City Clerk. Now we're moving on to agenda item number 16, which is discuss and consider the appointment of the office of Vice Mayor. This is an action item. City Clerk, you're back on.
Yes, sir. All right, this item is actually regarding the appointment of the office of Vice Mayor. Next slide, please. So on October 12th, as mentioned before, Ruben Holliber resigned from the Millbrae City Council and also the office of Mayor, effective at 11:59. Pursuant to Section 8, subsection 1H of the City Council Protocol, when an office of mayor becomes vacant, the vice mayor rotates into the office of mayor. Following that provision, Stephen Rinaldi assumed the office of mayor on May 13, 2026. Next slide. The City Council Protocol established a process for the annual rotation of mayor and vice mayor. Under the protocol's placement of the rotation lineup is based on the election vote totals, and vice mayor must and the vice mayor, must both intend to serve as mayor the following year and remain on city council the following year, either through continuation of their current term or reelection. The protocol also states that no one shall serve as mayor more than one time in a 4-year election term. Next slide. Based on the current council composition, no council member meet all of the eligibility requirements, identified in the protocols for the office of vice mayor. Councilmember Sissy Riley and Councilmember Bob Nguyen were both appointed to the City Council under Section 8, subsection 1F of the City Council Protocol. They are placed at the end of the existing rotation lineup. The permanent placement in the rotation lineup for these 2 council seats shall be established at the general election in this November. In addition, Councilmember Fung has already served as mayor during the current 4-year election term. Next slide, please. The protocols do not expressly address the process for filling the office of vice mayor when no council member satisfy the eligibility requirements. Given the uniqueness of the situation, the city council has discretion on how to proceed. The city council may discuss and consider the appointment to the office of vice mayor. Next slide. The role of the vice mayor is to act as mayor in absence or disability of the mayor. The vice mayor also has the authority to preserve order at the council meetings, enforce rules of the council, and determine the order of business during the meetings when serving in the mayor's role. Next slide. The recommended action tonight is for the city council to discuss and consider the appointment of the office of vice mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, City Clerk. So with that, we'll go directly to council comments. Everyone's really quiet tonight and shy. I'm really surprised. Should we perhaps go to public comment first to see what the public thinks, and then we can come back to council? Maybe that'll help spur some thought. So with that, let's open up to public comment. Are there any speaker slips in the House?
We do not, Mayor, and there's no online comments as well.
No phone a friend. Okay. That means we're on the spot. So let's have a discussion. Does anyone want to open up, or would you like me to start? All right, I'll go ahead and start. So first I want to start by saying I think we have a very capable and competent council here. There's no doubt. And one of the key words that you see in the staff report, staff, thank you for the report, first off, very thorough, is the word eligible. Not capable, but eligible. We have a very unique situation. No one saw this coming with the resignation of former Mayor Holliber. Plus, no one saw that we were going to have a recall way back when and have 2 appointed council members. So with that being said, it's a very unique situation. The role of vice mayor is unique. It's something that historically speaking in Millbrae, we have gone without that role before in the past. That has been done. So a couple things to think about and consider, because we make these decisions as a council, not individuals, is first and foremost, eligibility. We don't have that here. We have a protocol. The protocol does not require filling the vice mayor seat when rotation system breaks. We have a fallback mechanism, which the protocols already allow the council to select a mayor pro tem when needed. What that is let's say I become incapacitated, struck by lightning, not to give anyone any ideas. At the next public meeting, the council would convene, decide who would take on the role of mayor for that meeting, and conduct business as usual. I think we also have transparency that we owe to the constituency. So with that being said, staying within the protocol and not breaking from it, which has caused issues in the past. I know Councilmember Fung, during your last term, there was a situation where people broke protocol and unfortunately put you in a very unfair situation. And I also remember advocating for you that year to become mayor. And I think you earned it, more than earned it, with your service. So I want to state that. So with that, just give the council some food for thought to think and provide their own council comments. Councilmember Riley.
Thank you, Mayor. You're absolutely right. We are in a unique situation that me and Bob were appointed is not qualified. Then only left one person is qualified and capable, which is a council member from. So I'm gonna be favor for he become vice mayor. Thank you.
All right, with that being said, do we have any other council comments? Councilmember Nguyen?
More for a question for staff. In this situation, I get the uniqueness, right? Myself and CC Riley have been appointed. We had consecutive terms for Anders when he was mayor, and then now this resignation. So I understand the uniqueness of this situation. But that being said, right, let's say in a scenario where we want Anders to be vice mayor, what does that look like in the next cycle? Is there any answers to that? I'm just curious if you guys know what that looked like.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And because of the uniqueness, you have current Mayor Rinaldi that stepped up because of the situation to fulfill the term that was vacated by Mr. Holliber. And so this is an interim situation. So based on the protocols, Mr. Rinaldi would still be eligible to be mayor in 27 for the full year. Then the vice mayor appointment will be dependent on the outcome of the election.
Okay, thank you.
So just for staff clarification, because I'm not sure, Councilmember Nguyen, I don't want to speak for you, but hearing that comment back from staff, I have a question. So let's say we were to appoint a vice mayor at this point. Let's say we follow protocol for 2027. And this is speculation because when it comes to rotation, it's policy, meaning it's at the pleasure of the council. So anything could happen in 2027. Let's say, argument's sake, hypothetical, not a guarantee, I serve as mayor in 2027, we have an appointed vice mayor. That would therefore mean, with the rotation, the vice mayor would be in line, if we followed protocol, for 2028 to become mayor, correct?
No, because again, the protocols don't anticipate this situation. So the results of the 2026 November election, whoever has the highest percentage of the vote, then will be eligible for vice mayor.
Got it.
So that's the so that's the outcome of the November election. So whoever has the highest percentage of vote would then, pursuant to the protocols, then be the person that would assume the role of vice mayor for 27.
For absolute clarity here to make sure that, feeling like I'm a little slow tonight. So just for absolute clarity. So if we were to appoint someone right now in as vice mayor, come 2026, the results of that election, based off the highest vote getter, they would assume their order in rotation as vice mayor. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. All right. So with that, Councilmember Nguyen.
So as a clarification, I heard percentage. Is that percentage of all Millbrae, percentage of district, percentage compared to each? I'm just curious what that is.
Yeah, so because the districts aren't balanced, so, one district has 3,600, the other has 4,200, it's not fair to have the largest vote getter. So that's why we take a percentage of the vote. So let's say, if a council member wins by, 18% and another council member wins by, 20%, the council member with the 20% would be the one that's on top for the priority of vice.
Even if the raw amount of voters is lower for that 20%?
Yeah, because the districts are not balanced.
Gotcha, okay.
So, so there's not an even population in each of the districts.
And just to add to that, the protocols when they were written before there were districts. And so that's something that the council may wish to consider to revise the protocols because, what the city manager is suggesting is sort of like a workaround to make it fair, but it's not explicitly written into the current protocols. I think the language says the highest number of votes. So, in the interim, I think having the percentage makes sense, but in the future, the council may wish to revisit the protocols.
And we're actually planning on bringing some protocol revisions to the city council in the next month
Thank you.
for further discussion. Yeah.
Councilmember Fung?
Thank you. I think, instead of being on the fly, try to come up with these policy decisions, I think we do have a rules committee that needs to sort of convene and discuss some of these policies moving forward here. Obviously, when the protocol was developed, they did not contemplate district elections. That's clear. And now all 5 districts has been implemented, and so I think it's time to bring that forward, to have discussions about what would be a most equitable way to deal with these issues and take into account of this being the district elections. So this would need to probably come in a future time, the Rules Committee bring forward to the council for full discussion in the near future.
Yeah, and just for a timeline, the meeting of July 14th is what we have targeted to bring the protocols back, so we can fit that in. The Rules Committee, have that discussion, get a recommendation, bring that to the council.
Thank you.
Do we have any other additional council comments here? We did get one public speaker slip. I feel like we've heard from this person quite a few times tonight. Ms. Alice Kwong, why don't you come on up?
First of all, thank you all for you to commit your value and knowledge and good heart to serve the community. I support all you guys who will be mayor or vice mayor, whoever. But I have a question just come up to my mind. Like, suppose 4 years term, right? Everyone in general speaking, except like Stephen talked about the example that's awful, right? But it's be 1 year for mayor, 1 year for my mayor, right? In a 4 years term. Generally speaking, 1 year is a mayor, another year maybe a vice mayor, right? But last year was very special. So, council member Fong, in the 4 years term, in the first year, he was the mayor, right? And this year, and Mr. Hannibal was the mayor, and Stephen is a vice mayor. In general speaking, next year Stephen will be a mayor, but just for current situation, Stephen in the middle of the year become a mayor. And next year, Stephen will still a mayor, right? And this year, maybe, I don't know, for example, just like CC say, maybe Mr. Fong, maybe because they can, whatever, will be a vice mayor. But that's a special situation. That means in his 4 years, except this special station, he wasn't being a vice mayor. So he should still have a time be appointed as a vice mayor, generally speaking, for his 4 years. The same as Stephen, this half year, he become a mayor. And next year, he will still be a mayor, the same thing, right? That's why I thought, but something is very special in our Millbrae Council member. Thank you.
So real quickly, last comment back to city staff, just to make sure we're crystal clear. So putting in a vice mayor right now and appointing them doesn't guarantee that in the rotation for 2027, they would be vice mayor. It'd be based off of the highest vote getter, because the way the current policy or protocol, the way the current protocol is, it's by highest vote getter, not by percentage. Correct?
But that did not assume districts, so that assumed citywide elections. And so that's why we'll be bringing the protocols back to formalize what the policy is of the city council.
So let me just take it back a step to make sure I fully understand. So what you were talking about on the July 14th Rules Subcommittee is going to be a proposal to switch over to percentage of votes got within district, which would then affect this upcoming election that's coming up.
Correct. So it'd be the highest percentage of vote getter, because like I said, the districts are not balanced, so they're not equal. And so it makes sense just to who won by the highest percentage within their district.
Got it. So just to be fully transparent here for public following along and for myself. So appointing a vice mayor right now, come 2027, we have the results, and highest percentage of vote getter would be then the vice mayor for the year 2027, with the option to rotate in if it so is the policy of the council for 2028, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, got it. So with that being stated, are there any other additional council comments? Would anyone like to make a motion? Do you want to make a motion? Go ahead. What's your motion?
Motion to appoint the council member Anders Fang to the vice mayor.
Do I have a second? Bob, here, I'll make the second. So I'm seconding your motion. So let's put it to the vote then. Looks like, someone abstained.
Okay.
Wow.
The motion to appoint Councilmember Anders Fung to the office of Vice Mayor passed by a vote of 301 with Vice Mayor Fung abstaining. Thank you.
Right. All right, so with that being said, we have finished item 16. So now we move over to council comments. So these are committee reports. Council members serve as representatives to various committees listed below. They'll report by exception on matters affecting Millbrae. So council comments, let's go ahead and we'll start with Councilmember Nguyen. Do you want to share your council comments?
Yeah, real quick, only one subcommittee or committee I attended the meeting is EDAC, Economic Development Committee for Millbrae. And there's a discussion that caught my attention. One topic was to have a workshop that would allow small businesses to learn how to use AI tools. And I think that would be useful. So there's going to be potentially, and we're still working out the details, anyone interested in learning about using the modern tools, especially small business owners in Millbrae, to learn more about it. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Councilmember Nguyen. Let's go ahead and move over to Councilmember Riley.
Hi, I went to the San Mateo Hospital emergency meeting last Wednesday night. And all of those first responders attended there and discuss for recontracting with existing company and also looking for a larger company. Then this Saturday, I initiated for youth information form. I hope anyone who has high school students and middle school students can attend in Millbrae Community Center. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Riley. And I guess I can say this officially. We'll move over to Vice Mayor Fung.
Thank you. Well, I'm honored. It's funny as it is. This is my 6 years on the council, and after serving 2 terms as mayor, this is the first time I become a vice mayor. It's a new feeling overall. But at any rate, thanks for the vote of confidence. Appreciate the opportunity to continue to work with all of you. And so attended the Cal CCA 2026 in Sacramento. And Peninsula Clean Energy officially changed its name to Westlight Energy. And so it's our way to reflect better branding so that we no longer be confused with PG&E and continue to offer great services and discount, at least between 5 to 10% discount for all energy delivered throughout the entire San Mateo County. And just had an opportunity to discuss many different future energy initiatives and policy directions as we look forward to bring about more opportunity for California to get more energy from some of the other western states, and just continue finding ways to lower the cost of energy for everybody. It's affordability is high on the agenda throughout the entire CCA conference. So with that said, look forward to seeing more of those come into fruition. And we have more policies that we're supporting as part of Peninsula Clean Energy. And so, plenty of work ahead of us. So more to come.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Fung, and I'll wrap up real quickly with my council comments. And it's a lot based around CERT. So I was able to work with the 3rd graduating class of the CERT Mandarin training. And I want to offer up a special thanks to Mike Schwang from Hillsborough CERT He's actually Hillsborough CERT Volunteer of the Year and head of the Hillsborough Neighborhood Network. Also, Marie Chuang, who's Hillsborough former mayor and current council member. She was in attendance helping the training session. And last but not least, Kaz Chow, who was the CERT coordinator, and he participated as well. This is a really important thing, having these CERT courses in Mandarin. I can't tell you how many people come forward and feel more comfortable in their native tongue participating and learning some of these life-saving skills, which can benefit not only them, their families, but also their neighbors. And out of the 18 people that graduated, we had 2 that came all the way from San Jose. They were very enthusiastic about the program. And we had only 2 Millbrae graduates, which really shocked me. Sing Yu Su and Kelly Ting, thank you very much for your participation. It's my hope that we can vocalize this offering of Mandarin CERT and help grow this, because I think it would really benefit our own community here in Millbrae. I also had the ability to attend the CERT Appreciation Awards. It was quite the privilege. I got to see Oliver Abramson, who is someone that I went to middle school with, got to share the stage with him and offer him up accommodation to thank him for his Millbrae CERT Volunteer of the Year Award. Oliver oftentimes comes to all CERT functions. It's not uncommon to see him there with a smile and a positive attitude. So thank you, Oliver. Also want to thank Leland and Betty Lowe. This is a really interesting one. They were the recipient of the first Dina D. Gunning Memorial Award. For those folks that don't know Dina, we recently lost her. She was a friend to all here in Millbrae CERT. She helped organize the program and run a pretty steady ship. And with Leland and Betty Lowe, the story gets interesting because they show up and volunteer their time always. So much so that Betty Lowe skipped her trip to Taiwan and postponed it by a couple days just to go to the award ceremony and receive her commendation. So thank you, Betty Lowe, for the honor of postponing your trip to receive the award. Going to do a little bragging on the next one, Vindula Regabir. She was the Burlingame CERT Volunteer of the Year. Here's the silver lining. She's now a Millbrae CERT Volunteer Coordinator because she moved to Millbrae. So Millbrae, sorry Burlingame, we stole one from you. So Vindula, thank you. And last but not least, we had the privilege of honoring Tom Broker, who received the Special Recognition Award. As you may remember, May 27, 2025, he was recognized by City Council. He had over 15 plus years of CERT service, helped re-energize the CERT program, and served as a CERT coordinator across Millbrae, Burlingame, and Hillsborough. It's really great seeing him. And then I also had the privilege of attending the BID meetings. So that's my wrap up. And with that, I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 9:25. Thank you all.
Recording stopped.